Good morning, everybody! How are you on this incredible Monday morning? It's Victoria Lorient-Faibish, registered psychotherapist, holistic psychotherapist, and I am here with the incomparable lifelong friend, Lisa Betts-Lacroix. Can you please help me welcome her?
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, exactly. And Lisa Betts-Lacroix is an incredible, hi Sandra, incredible podcaster. She is also this, it's called, tell me the name of it.
Superpower You with you.
Superpower You. And we're talking today, such an exciting moment for me to have my beautiful friend Lisa to talk about, what I talk about, which is how to build inner resilience and how to activate your superhero within, which is, it's so, hi Julia, it's so powerful as a concept, I feel, that, life is tough. Life will throw you the curves, people. Hi, Kimiko. Life will throw you the curves, as we all know. And just by the way, whoever's coming on, thank you for being here. And sharing is caring, so share, share, share. But I wanted to just talk to Lisa about her really great podcast. And I really want you to tell us about what does it mean to activate your superhero? What does that look like in a person?
Well, Victoria, like you pointed out, stuff happens. And things are difficult, life is hard, and we live in a culture that likes to focus on what you need to do to be better. How do you improve yourself? And I think a lot of times we miss really activating and utilizing what our strengths are. So for me, a superpower is that component, that piece of you, that skill set that is in your life all the time, no matter what you've done, no matter what career you've been in, that you can use to be your best self. And the interesting thing about superpowers, usually people don't know what their superpower is.
Okay, do you guys know what your superpowers are? Hi, Craig. What are your superpowers? So tell me about an example of, what's your superpower?
Well, I've done a lot of thinking about superpowers, and I really believe my superpower is connection, and both connecting ideas together and also connecting people. And so, for example, for a long time, connection. So
connecting yourself to other people and ideas.
Yes.
Concepts,
bringing them together. And I'll give you an example of that, how for many years I thought of myself as scattered and all over the place because I'm a really fast thinker and fast, and I'm interested in so many different things, and I thought of myself as a hack. And then I realized I have ADHD. And when I explored that, I realized that instead of that being my liability, that actually is my superpower. Because my brain is in many places at one time, I can bring different domains together and intersect them. So, but the interesting thing and the reason why people don't know their superpower is because it is the skill set that is so natural to you, that comes so easily to you, that it's like you're swimming in water.
So it's not like you have to manufacture a superpower. Right. It's the thing that just is there. Now, because of what you just said, it sounds like there's an aligned version of your superpower and a misaligned version of your superpower. So whether you're balanced or not is how that particular trait. So it sounds like when you're aligned, you're going to use your superpower to connect to ideas, to connect to people. When you're off kilter, that particular thing, and I can give you an example of my own superpower issue.
What do you think your superpower is?
Well, my own superpower, I would say, is generosity.
Absolutely.
So, I have generosity, but it can really land me in some hot water where I'll give beyond my abilities. So if I'm not on top of my boundaries and I'm not on top of my balanced self, I will give more than I actually can give. So my superpower is to be generous and to be inclusive and to be effusive about somebody else.
Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, hi, Kevin. But essentially, if I'm not aligned, if I'm not balanced, hi, Wendy, my superpower will just sort of maybe take me down. Do you concur?
Yeah, I think one of the key things you're pointing out that's super important is that it's when we have awareness of what our superpower is, then we can, alignment is a great way of thinking about it. If we know what our superpower is and we understand it, then we can align it so that we are utilizing it. Whereas if we're not aware of it, then sometimes it can be leaky or we can be, energy leak.
Okay, so awareness is important.
Super important.
And then let's see if we can give the viewers some other pieces. So awareness is important and a sense of balance is important, it sounds like.
I hadn't thought of it as balance. I think the most important thing is that if you really know what it is, you can really utilize it. So and again, I think a lot of times, one of the things I tell people that if you don't know what your superpower is, you'll often need a reflection. And so
from other people to you.
People.
Okay.
So if you go and ask the 3 people closest to you, possibly from different domains of your life, maybe your spouse, and then a very close friend, and possibly a coworker, what do you think is the special quality that gives me the ability to be my best self and to contribute to the world in the most effective way? You will probably hear some patterns if you ask a few people.
And is it possible that we have many superpowers?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I think there's often a central one, but then, I think it's possible to have more than one superpower because, hey, we're awesome beings.
We're awesome multi-dimensional beings.
Multi-dimensional.
Exactly. And so I think about the whole thing that another one of my superpowers, I think, is, and it's so funny to say, it feels a bit egocentric to say superpower, but
okay,
yeah.
Can I jump in on that?
Do.
You remember your next superpower. You can let it gel
and
percolate. But I have interviewed people, and it happens every single interview I do. I say, "So, what is your superpower?" Sometimes I tell before, and sometimes I don't. And almost every time, people say. In fact, the 14-year-old girl I interviewed, and she was beautiful. She said,
right. That was a great interview, by the way.
Yeah.
What was your name again? Her name
is Sophia Betts-Lacroix. And
you should check out that one. It's really good on Superpower You.
Yeah, yes. She said, I really don't feel comfortable saying superpower because I think that I need to acknowledge the privilege that I have. And I would not have the skill set that I have if I didn't have the opportunities and the education, and if my parents weren't homeschooling me, and if I didn't have freedom. And she's 14 years old. And I said, thank you so much for acknowledging that fact. And I'm going to push you to look for your superpower because there's such a common experience in our world where we think we shouldn't be celebrating ourselves. We think we shouldn't be egocentric. And I say, let's not see it as egocentricity. Let's see it as a celebration of ourselves so other people can celebrate themselves too.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I totally agree with you. One of the contexts I put it in is I work with a lot of people who are surviving narcissistic relationships. And hi, Joanne. And thank you, Afnan. Afnan. You always brighten the day, Victoria, Lorient-Faibish. So happy to see you. I'm so happy to see you too, Afnan. Thank you. So here's what I want to say is that, it's on a continuum. I think it's on a continuum. And I think that, there's really healthy narcissism where you're self-preserving and you're giving yourself what you need and you're filling your own cup first and giving to others from the overflow. And then there's, the overly narcissistic personality where it's absolutely destructive and all you think of yourself and you never consider anyone else. So I think similarly, celebrate oneself is I think on the side of the spectrum that is healthy and it's important.
It's a really interesting dichotomy you're raising is how does one celebrate themselves without being narcissistic? And in some ways I'm just thinking through this as you're speaking, but I feel that there has to be a very clear distinction between them. And I suspect that narcissism is when it's about you. And superpowers and strengths are when it's about what do you have to contribute to the world.
There you go.
Because the world needs us to be our best selves.
But the world needs us to be full first.
True.
If we're going to help the planet, which the planet needs us to help it, we need to be full. We need to be full, and we need to not only be full, we need to be considering ourselves and doing boundaries, having boundaries, I should say, as to, how much am I going to give? How much am I not going to give? And utilizing your superpowers so that you can really be the superhero of your life. So you can really be that superhero. And what I was going to say is another one of my superpowers, I would say is, the ability to have resilience. It's a big word. I've gone through a lot. I mean, I think I became a psychotherapist because of everything I've gone through. And so I think that I really have a tremendous amount of compassion for others. Mm-hmm. That's another one of our superpowers. You have a lot of compassion too. Mm-hmm. And then the ability to have resiliency to get through everything and not let it crumble and take you down, by the way. Don't let it take you down. That's something important.
I think there's a very fine line between strengths and superpowers, and I'm not even going to be, I'm the expert on superpowers, and here's the difference between them. But one of the things that occurs to me when I think about superpowers is that skill set. Many of the people that I know that I interview and that are in my world, as I'm sure is the case with you, have changed lanes in their life many times.
Yes, they've transitioned to something else.
Transitioned either in jobs and just life
their
path
life.
or transformed their life. And I think the way that I like to think about superpower, the way that I think it's really, really powerful is when you go back and you look at all the different times in your life and you look at all the pieces and you say, what is the thing that's consistent? You know?
Okay, what is the thing that's consistent? For example.
And I think resilience is probably something that is true.
Right.
That if you look back to when you were a teenager and the things that you're dealing with in your life, and I'm fortunate that I actually knew you then.
Yes, exactly.
And
we've known each other since high school, people. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Michael.
Hi,
Thank you for joining. I'm so glad you're here.
So Jennifer, lovely to have people that we have also known for many, many years.
I know.
So the thing is, you look
Susan
at the
Washington.
Of your life.
Thank you, Susan. Yes, thank you.
So you look at the times in your life when you were dealing with different things, and in your teen years you were dealing with different things in your life that you were dealing with in your 20s. And what's that thing that came up over and over? And I definitely, having known you for so long, I think resilience is one of your incredible strengths because you always look at the end of your own arm.
Exactly. my very challenging father. One of the things he gave me was you exactly. You need a helping hand. Look at the end of your own arm. And I used to resent that, but it was so important as I've gone through life. It's like which is what I was going to talk about next, which is this notion of emotional self-sufficiency. Emotional self-sufficiency is, it's not that you don't have support from other people, but the primary source of support is within yourself. And that requires that you cultivate aspects of yourself that possibly are not fully awakened. You got to cultivate that part of you where you're saying, okay, there are problems going on in my life. There are issues going on in my life, and I'm going to seek out support for sure. But I'm also going to cultivate and dig deep into the well of self-culture, which is what I write about, this who am I really, what am I about, and what is important to me, and I'm going to cultivate that and dig, so that you can, so that we can be in life in a functional way, in a healthy way. And I think that's a lot about generating the superhero within. The superhero, because
absolutely.
Oh my God, the superhero. I just love the concept because I don't know about you, but I think a superhero is a wonderful archetype.
I think the piece that I like about it that relates very much to what you just spoke about is that we live our lives as our everyday beings, and sometimes that everyday beingness and our thinking process around that is somewhat limited. And so
we have this tunnel vision.
Or we see ourselves in a small way.
Yeah.
And if we just peel off the layers of self-doubt, and we peel off the layers of cultural expectation, and we peel off the layers of what other people want of us.
Cultural expectation,
how people see us, other people's perceptions of us.
Other people seeing us, right.
Then we can peel all those layers off to get at what's that superhero inside, what's that inner superhero, and how do we use that superhero, and what do superheroes do? Once they peel off those layers, they show up in their fullest, biggest self, and they go and they contribute in the way that's,
helpful to the planet. So Wendy, I want people to post their what is their superpower? Love this topic. Wendy says, I think my superpower might be defender of the underdog and the misunderstood. I love that, Wendy. And every single person, if you're watching, give us some superpower action. What is your superpower?
So I want to actually deepen that, can I?
Yeah, Wendy, this is Lisa. Wendy.
Hi. I just want to deepen that because if you think of superheroes, Dana. If you think of superheroes like Superman or Wonder Woman, then that's what they do. They defend the underdogs and the misunderstood, or they save people who are in trouble.
Totally.
But their superpowers are things like strength, or if you look at in terms of other kinds of superheroes, maybe it's infinite vision or like the resilience. So it's kind of like, what is the skill set? What is the power? What is the habitual way of being in the world that's been there every step of the way with you when you've been engaged in defending that underdog? Maybe in some cases it's courageous communication. People who are unafraid to say what's true for them. In other cases, inspiring others,
Joanne, hi. I love that, inspiring others. Yes, exactly. And it's all about, just to be clear for the viewers, peeling back the layers of, let's give them things that you said earlier, things like guilt, things like shame, things like, what else did you say?
Other people's
opinions,
of your identity, other people's idea of who you are.
Right.
Your own limiting self-beliefs that keep you small.
That's right. So you've got to go about the business of excavating what are your limiting beliefs? That's the other thing, is like sometimes it lives in the subconscious, and that stuff is even more powerful than the conscious. So I'm a psychotherapist, right? Dive into your subconscious to see what's in there, what's holding you back, because you might not be fully aware of what's holding you back. That might be something that would be, what did Wendy say?
Unafraid to say what I feel for sure.
Oh, love it.
And that is a really special quality. Not everyone has that. So many times people do hold themselves back. I'd love to hear more superpowers from people who are watching. What's your superpower?
Janine, I know you have a superpower. I want to hear it. You are such a fun contributor, and we've chatted back and forth, so let us know yours. And anyone else, Kimiko, Dana, Jennifer,
and I mean,
Michael.
Some of the people we know, too. So I'm sure you know many of the people that are, and so sometimes it really does take someone else reflecting back to you what your superpower is, like I said. So,
well, I would say that depth and honesty, Susan, yes, that is true. Yes, true. Because people can really feel a sense of safety with someone who has depth and honesty. It's so refreshing. It's so refreshing to have someone. Another good superpower to cultivate, I think, and it's is the ability to say no. I think that having discernment, for me as being the my superpower being generous, I need to develop the superpower of letting people know that I have limitations.
Tracy Blackburn, hello.
Hey, Tracy. Limitations. And no, I think they're here possibly. Okay, Janine. Lately, I'm transforming. It seems. Does my smile count? Yes, being smiley.
I would even go further to say what's underneath the smile. So the smile is the reflection of the strength, but I think I would guess that there's a deeper underlying piece that the smile's reflecting.
And Dana said my superpower is having
the willingness and ability to learn even when the lessons are hard.
Ooh.
I think
and that's a resiliency piece. Absolutely. That's that's awesome. So powerful. I love that people are revealing
and now just
some
reflecting
of that.
back on people here.
Yeah.
Unafraid to say. So people like Unafraid. Kimiko likes Unafraid to say what I feel for sure.
That is gold. And Kimiko, it's a good one because, again, say no, being unafraid to say, because I think what happens is that we empower others to say no as well. I find that when I'm transparent and I say no, or I'm unafraid to say what I feel, or I actually inspire others to do the same. And I find that really refreshing. And let's hear what Susan...
Lightness and fun is awesome. I don't need glasses, so I can do it. Awesome too, and you both have that as much as depth and wisdom. So all of it together, wisdom and lightness.
Amazing.
Beautiful poetry.
Amazing.
There's so many.
Yes to the no, Kimiko says. Yes to the no.
Acceptance of our uniqueness.
Ooh, good. Yeah, authentic. To me, it's the words I use are self-culture. Self-culture, finding your self-culture. There's family culture, there's religion culture, there's country culture, but what is your self-culture where your loudest voice in your head is yours? And that's the acceptance of your uniqueness. Efnan, for sure. Absolutely. And by the way, Efnan, you are very, very unique. And Dana just sent us a message. Okay.
She's going to run. Or maybe she's sitting.
She's got to move her car.
Thanks for being here,
Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Love it. And Janine, you're still searching for your self-culture, but I think that just you're on your way. You're on your way.
Right?
It's a lifelong process.
Yeah, it doesn't end.
It never ends. And if you think it ends, you're misinformed. Yeah. It's not ending. Yeah. And I just want you to know that this process of finding your inner superhero, of finding all that self-culture, you basically are committed to yourself. And to me, that is a superpower, to be committed to yourself. What does Joanne say? Can you read
Growing up, we were raised to be seen and not heard, and it took about 25 years to find my voice. Beautiful. Never give up. And then Jennifer was saying, trying to make the voices a positive voice. I think we always have both.
The torturer within. The inner bully. You want to transform the inner bully. Jennifer, what are you saying here?
Struggle to keep the light sometimes for everyone, right?
Absolutely. But I feel like it's important to constantly transform your inner bully into a supportive coach. Catch the bullying words internally and transform the words into something positive. Scott. Hey, Scott, nice to see you. Glad you're here. It's nice to see all these wonderful people.
So many dear old friends.
Yeah, exactly.
It's old.
No, yeah, exactly. Nobody's old here, please. Nobody's old here. My superpower is being young eternally.
Younger.
Kidding. But it's all about transforming that inner bully into that supportive coach. And to me, I think it's important to harness whatever is even going on that's negative within you, transform that into the positive.
Yeah.
Transform that into the positive. In other words, don't just cut out the negative. Have the courage to look at the negative, and maybe in that negative characteristic, you have something in there that you can harness and transform its power into something positive. So if it's an inner bully, transform it into that supportive coach. If it's
the idea of the Achilles heel, right?
That's
that whatever
right.
our strength is usually has a weakness to it, and so that means the corollary is true, that whatever our weakness is has to have an opposing strength. So
exactly. So whatever our weakness is has to have an opposing strength.
Yeah,
that's
a
like
related strength.
That's actually literally like a law of the universe.
Yeah. Right.
So just know that. And we love you too, Scott. Thank you so much for saying that. Appreciate that so much. Blessings your way. You do such great work, Scott. Your superpower is definitely helping
generosity.
Generosity and helping
building.
the underdog. So
Yeah.
I'm so proud and impressed with you and your whole family.
And Jennifer, I see transformation in you, the ability to transform, willingness, bravery.
Oh,
Susan, also generosity.
Oh, very deep.
Givingness,
Yes.
reflecting back, inspiring people, reflecting back their own brilliance.
That's right. That's right.
Kimiko, also super generosity.
And Janine, I just want to encourage you to understand that no matter what you were taught in terms of seen and not heard, just know that could be like something that will propel you to be seen and heard.
Yeah.
That will propel you to be seen and heard. Think about the butterfly that's is first the caterpillar, and it's in its little case, and it's got to struggle, and it's got to struggle, and it's got to struggle. But if the farmer cuts, and helps it along too much, it will not build the muscle to have beautiful wings. So you got to have the struggle so you'll be inspired to totally have these powerful wings. So keep going, Janine. I really know that you will be seen and heard.
You know what? I just really want to underline what you said,
Yes.
because I think it is really a beautiful opportunity, because we all have those negative voices. And I think if every single time we hear something negative...
Hi, Andrea. Sorry, keep going.
Andrea.
Yeah, keep going.
If we hear that negative voice in us, I love the idea that that's actually our insight into what we can transform. And even if it means that if we notice it, if we notice, my voice is stifled or whatever, then that means that it's alive for us some way. If we're noticing it, then we see that as the opportunity to grow it. It has some energy for us.
And pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And then ask the key question, what's this all about? It's a key lead-in question for self-analysis. What's this, focus in, close your eyes, and do some self-analysis. What's this thing all about? Joanne, having courage, sometimes living by, can you read it?
Fake it until you make it,
Yes.
and then watch what happens, because you become it.
That's right.
Beautiful.
That's so powerful, too, I mean, I think I cultivated everything that I'm living today through initially faking it until I made it. And I don't know that I made it. My point is that I knew that I wanted to shift some key family culture things, and to do that I needed to fake it. I needed to really, really just live as if I was already in it. And then it became that. So
well, when you're living it as if, then you actually are living it.
You're actually living it. Exactly.
So you're living it.
Exactly. So powerful.
So even if it's for that moment or that time, until you circle back and do it again. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lisa, is important for the viewers to, any kind of a process you might share that is...
Well, like I say, I think one of the things, if you're not really sure what your superpower is, and to tell you the truth, almost, even if you are, I think it can be really powerful to get more clarity and more subtlety and more nuance and more language around your superpower. And one of the things you can do is write a brief letter and a brief email to people and say, hey, and if you need it to be an assignment, you can say, I've been assigned this task of writing a brief letter to the people that you know. Sometimes I've actually done it on Facebook before myself and said, I'm trying to really deeply understand what my skills are. Would you be willing to reflect back to me what you see as my power and what you see as my most pure and essential ability, and gather those up?
That's vulnerable.
I mean,
that's amazing.
Is it vulnerable? Interesting.
I think it's very vulnerable.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I think that if it's vulnerable, what you can see it as is that same idea that if you're willing to put out to the world, would you please be willing to share what you see as my superpower? Sometimes when I've done it, I said, and I'll be willing to, and if you respond to me, I will reflect back what I see in you. So it becomes,
so that there's a conversation.
Yeah, it becomes a conversation, and basically it becomes, a willingness to say, I would like you to reflect back to me, and I'm willing to reflect back to you. And there's an amazing power, connection, beauty, and mutual support in that.
That is so fantastic. So you have an assignment, and you're going to put it out there, possibly on Facebook. And if you're not
private,
and I was going to say, if you're not, and join. Something I want to say is, I have a new group called Positive Self Culture, Relationship Culture, and Family Culture. It's a safe space in there. If you want to join that, that would be a really cool place to possibly put a letter out, because everyone's kind of prepared for everyone's interested in essentially developing positive self culture, positive relationship culture, positive family culture.
That'd be a great place to come back to say what people, because you kind of want your superpower to be reflected by people who know.
So put it out there widely and then come over and reflect it back. That's a good point.
Put it back to people you know, and then come back to the group and say, I did the superpower exercise, and here's what I heard.
So the lead-in sentence is, to be clear,
homework. They're all rebelling against homework.
No. I call it. You know what I call it? Home play. Home play. Okay, what's the home play assignment?
Ask at least 3 people, if not more, either privately or publicly, what they can reflect back to you as one of your most essential and powerful skill sets.
Okay.
You can say, what do you see as my superpower? What's my essential skill set? My dog ate it,
Joanne. That's hilarious.
And then maybe bring it back to the group.
Exactly. And so,
celebrate it.
Yeah, celebrate it. Exactly. You know what? Sometimes these types of self-analysis exercises are tough, but you know what? They're really powerfully opening, transforming. They get you to the next level. And guess what? That's what I'm all about. So you're obviously tuning into that energy, and you want that as well. So you do that. It's a good idea. What is Scott? Oh, there we go. I don't do homework. Home play, everybody. Banish the word homework. It's called home play. Okay. So we're going to start our wrap up, and I just want to say a couple more things. So where can people find you? And tell me about your podcast.
Sure. My podcast is the Superpower You podcast, with a U.
With a U.
And
the letter
it reflects both learning, as in like the idea of university, even though I'm not necessarily a institutional learning advocate.
Right.
And you, as in, so it's kind of a double entendre about learning and about yourself. And so Superpower You can find it on iTunes if you search Superpower You, or your favorite podcast platform. And I do long-form interviews with experts and just amazing everyday superheroes about the mental models and skill sets that they use in their life to do the awesome work that they do, and which listeners can apply, which can be applied across domains. So,
how did you come to this? Give us a tiny bit of background.
Well, it actually goes back to the idea of ADHD, and I realized I have ADHD, and I was thinking, I have so many experiences in my life, and I've done so many things, and I felt like I wasn't being able to reach enough people with what it is that with all the background that I have, all in education and in dance as an actor, and so many things I've done in my life. And when I realized I had ADHD, and I started to ask myself the same questions, and I did the same exercise, what do you see as being my strength? I realized that some of my really strong skill sets are amplifying the voices of other people, celebrating other people, and interviewing people, and digging at and finding out what's really special and important about them, and communicating, and conversations and connection, and connecting people up to other people. So
building community.
Yes, and
exactly.
so I love to highlight the people that I know who are amazing, and you're going to come on my show,
right?
Yes,
I can't wait.
So I love to introduce the people who are in my tribe, in my audience, to the amazing people that I know by celebrating what their superpowers are, and so that people can see themselves reflected back.
That's so awesome. And you also, I just want to say, you're an amazing parent. You did parenting in such a cool way. You did a lot of homeschooling community in San Francisco.
Yeah, well, I independently educated my kids. I don't really use the word homeschooling because we don't stay home much.
Yes,
I mean, that's what I use.
Yeah. Right.
Independent learning, and I co-founded a fairly large group of about 450 families in the Bay Area.
450 families in the Bay Area. What's it called?
It's called Bay Area Gifted Homeschoolers.
Love it.
And I've been very involved in education, and more recently competitive ballroom dancer, and
She's really living her self-culture. She's really living her self-culture, and I have to say I have a tremendous amount of admiration for you, my dear Lisa. And so everybody...
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for being here. I'm so honored. I just want everybody to... I feel so grateful that you've all tuned in, number one. Number two, my website is visualizationworks.com if you're interested in getting my books. My first book is called Find Your Self-Culture, the black cover, and bring it over. Find your self-culture, moving from depression and anxiety to monumental self-acceptance. Find your self-culture. Woohoo! And then the other one is called, of course, you got to have a healthy relationship culture. So it's connecting, rewire your relationship culture. You can get that over on my website, visualizationworks.com. And I have a bunch of online programs as well about healthy marriage and overcoming narcissism and boundaries and codependency. Check it out. Lots of free articles and lots of videos.
Susan wants to know one top tip.
One top
tip.
Finding
your self-culture.
One top tip for finding self-culture. I would say, ask the question, when you're quieting yourself, what is the loudest voice in there? And if it's other people's voice, you need to go about the business of tuning up the volume of your own voice. Thank you, Clara McMullen. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. And also what I wanted to say is if you find me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, Ask Victoria, because I have a channel on YouTube as well where I upload all of these videos. So where else can they find, anywhere else that they can find you?
You can find me at lisabl.com is my top level website.
lisabl.com.
Lisa Betts-Lacroix, lisabl.com.
Okay, say it slower.
lisabl.com.
Awesome. And is there anything coming up that you want people to know about?
I would just love your listeners to tune into my podcast. You can listen to it online at lisabl.com/podcast. The top level website will take you there. Or, like I say, subscribe on iTunes or on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Podcast Addict or Stitcher. I would just love to have you tune in and definitely reach out and say hello and let me know that you're a Victoria Lorient-Faibish
is
a Victoria Lorient-Faibish fan.
So funny.
Tribe member.
And also, tribe member, exactly. And also you have a group, right? Superpower You Tribe that you're
I do.
growing.
On Facebook, you can also search on Facebook, Superpower You. And
Tribe.
you'll find, if you just search on Superpower You is the page, and then the tribe is in there.
Okay. And thanks, Susan.
Thank you, Susan, for loving my podcast and supporting.
All right. So I'm signing off for today. Have a great Monday. Be kind to yourself. Find your superpower. Be your own superhero. And blessings. And tune in tomorrow for another juicy topic at 9:30. 9:30. All right. I'll see you then. All right, Doc. Take care, my love.